All right, Dion Gordon, thank you for joining us. Tech Birmingham, you know the spiel by now. This is navigating the new normal. And we have a special topic. And I call it special because I use these products all the time. And so I think you're all going to be in for a treat. Obviously, we are navigating a new situation, scenario, reality right now. And so a lot more people are having to work digitally, virtually. And so we have a lot of tools that are at our disposal that we might not really be aware of, or we're using them, but maybe not to their fullest extent. So this is going to be a masterclass, if you will, in the G Suite series of products and how we can get the most out of them. I promise that it's all of the thunder that I will steal. I do want to recognize before we begin, of course, Rebecca and Christina for the amazing work that they do. They are the perfect representation of what it is that we want to accomplish in Birmingham and specifically at Tech Birmingham. Thank you all for attending. You could be anywhere right now. You have an abundance of choices. So the fact that you all took time out of your day to spend it with us, we are grateful for it. We want to make sure we recognize. As always, we encourage you to sign up as members. We have a lot on the dock. We have done a lot of events throughout 2020. And we have some exciting things on the horizon for 2021. So your support, of course, is going to be crucial to that. So we want to make sure that you all are members. Feel free to go to the website, techbirmingham.com. We have all of the links there, or you can reach out to us directly. Chances stand that you have our contact information already. And again, this will be recorded and we post all of these sessions on our YouTube channel. And you can find that by going to youtube.com/techbham. So thank you. We're going to kind of dive in now. We have some special guests with us, but I do want to just give a shout out to the person I'm about to turn it over to. He has been a remarkable friend and an advocate for the community. I appreciate every time we have a chance to chat because it's not just about immediate impact, but we always seem to explore how to make generational change for Birmingham through our respective roles. And so I am proud to call him a friend and happy that he has decided to spend some time with us as well. So with that said, I am going to turn it over to our Google Cloud friend specialist, awesome guy, my whiskey compatriot, Michael Landis.
Thank you, Dion. that means a lot. Yeah, love right back at you. It's obviously great to be here in Birmingham, and I'm excited to see where it's going to continue to go. Especially on the shoulders of organizations like Tech Birmingham and its members. So always pumped to be a part of it, and glad to be able to help influence some of that, and maybe today specific to G Suite, maybe empower and enable some folk who are looking for some different tricks for what they currently use, or maybe an alternate model to what they're currently using, maybe to help their businesses out. So I can kind of jump right into it. Today, what we're going to be covering, and again, thanks to the Tech Birmingham team for giving us the opportunity to do this, is that we're gonna talk about G Suite a little bit. More specifically, we're going to talk about tips and tricks within the platform, things that maybe you may not realize are a part of the platform, or you may have missed the maybe subtle things and maybe bigger things, but we want to make sure and kind of give you a view from those who own the product into kind of what we've tried to enable and put into the product to make your collaboration and especially the new normal, right, working from virtually, a little bit easier. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. So presenters today, you have myself, and I'll kind of start with myself, and I'll have Heather introduce herself. But my name again is Michael Landis. I have been with Google here for about a year. Prior to that, I worked in cloud in general with AWS for about 6.5 years. But I've been working for the past decade working with companies to help modernize their businesses using technology. And like I said, I am Birmingham based, so I live here in Vestavia. My wife is from here originally. Her family is here, so we came down here to start a family near family, and are thrilled to be here and be a part of the community. And excited to tell you a little bit about our business today. So Heather, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Thank you. So my name is Heather Summers. I work for a company called SATA, and we are a G Suite or Google reseller. And I've been doing G Suite for the last 8 years, and prior to that was a Microsoft Office trainer. So I'm happy to take any questions of the parity between the two products. And I came from the professional services side, so helped implement these solutions for companies like yourselves. And happy to be working with Michael today.
Thank you, Heather. And SATA was kind enough to help us in a pinch to come in here and talk about this. Typically, when a lot of companies engage with G Suite, they often go through a partner. And so, if that is a motion that y'all are going through or looking to go through, this is a great partner to help with that. Really, what we're going to talk about today is the same thing, of course, going into G Suite. But Heather's going to lead the conversation, diving into the different details of certain aspects of the solution set. Now, there's a lot to talk about within G Suite, so I want to frame the conversation a little bit. We're going to do a subset of it, right? So there's specific parts that most people are interacting with, to be redundant, the most. So we're talking about Drive and Sheets and things like that. So we're going to cover a subset. There are other portions. If we have time, and we kind of get through a lot of the demonstrations and pieces, we can get to the additional solutions that are a part of the G Suite service. But we're also always happy to broker any conversations in the back end after this call in a subsequent meeting at Tech Birmingham. There's all kinds of things and rabbit holes that we can go down. So we needed to at least frame it a little bit. So Heather's been kind enough to frame it into some of the top tier services for that. But feel free as we go through, type in the chat, send us questions. We'll do our best to answer them. Of course, we're going to leave time at the end to have Q&A to make sure that we get to everything you need. But that being said, I'm going to shut up for now and let the star of the show, Heather, start leading us through this analysis. But yeah, so thank you again for the time, and Heather, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael. So wanted to talk a little bit about what is G Suite. So a lot of people compare us to Microsoft Office, but I think that you'll find we're not just a productivity suite, we're a platform as a service. And what that means is that we run in the cloud, we were built in the cloud, we were developed in the cloud. So a lot of other solutions, and we were just talking about Apple's products, were created as desktop applications and are trying to adapt to being in the cloud. We don't have that problem. We have government level security, and you can develop your own apps within the Google ecosystem if you wanted to. So it's kind of a paradigm shift for a lot of us, changing the whole way that you think. So as Michael alluded, there's a ton of products. So today we're just going to look at Gmail, Google Drive, and a product called Sheets. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about our telecommunications product, Meet. But as you can see, we have a ton of products. So we have the biggest selling point for Google in general is the collaboration aspect. So we have our versions of Microsoft Office products, Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Forms. Docs is very similar to Word, Sheets is very similar to Excel, and Slides is very similar to PowerPoint. And then Forms is a unique product within the Google ecosystem that is a surveying tool, and really was why I first fell in love with G Suite 9 years ago. So, and then we have control products. So Vault is one of our legal disclosure products. We have an admin console and so forth. So as Michael alluded, I could talk about this all day. So I just wanted to kind of do a little mini comparison. For less than the price of what you pay for Microsoft Office and their 4 products of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, you can get up to 27 different products from G Suite. So just wanted to put that out there. We're going to talk first a little bit about Meet. So our telecommunications product is actually free right now to anybody if you have a Gmail account, It's meet.google.com, so meet.google.com, and you can try it out. It supports up to 150 people right now, and we're doing this until September 30th. So you can see how it works and what it's all about. There's been a lot in the news about Zoom and Zoom bombing and all kinds of stuff. Because Google is an engineering company, they made Meet in 2017, so 3 years ago, with all of these security aspects built in before it even happened. So they kind of anticipated problems. So, and we'll talk a little bit about the security aspects. And then some of the things that you may not be aware of, which we'll talk about in Gmail, that they're going to be bringing to Meet is translation aspects. Right now we have closed captioning, but you'll see the ability to translate from a different language to English and to that language. And they're going to start with the major languages first. So that's one of the big selling points for me, because I work with a lot of international companies. The other big thing that you'll see as far as security aspects go is we have what's called a backstage room, which we'll talk about. We have the unique security code, noise cancellation, recordings that are recorded on your domain, not on the product. So for like Zoom or WebEx or GoToWebinar, you're actually recording on their system. And so that's opening you up to hacking and stuff like that. If you have the enterprise level product, you can have 250 participants. And then again, with the enterprise level product, you can have 100,000 people through what's called live stream. And it's integrated with Google Calendar. So I wanted to show you the product while we're here. So here inside of my email, they're doing this new thing, which is called integrated email. But I told you you could go right to meet.google.com, but also down here at the bottom, they've integrated Meet into the product. So if I go up here to the top and type in meet.google.com, and you can do this on any Gmail account, this is what it looks like. You can join or start a meeting. And they like you to nickname the meeting. So I just always call mine Boohoo. And now I'm in my Meet. This is the backstage room that I told you about. And so here I am not technically in the meeting. So we were doing it before this meeting. We were talking and chatting and stuff. But it's just me in this one. I can turn off my volume or my camera. And I can also change my camera if I want. So you can go into your settings and I can change which video camera I'm using. So this is coming from my laptop, but I can do FaceTime camera, my WebPro camera, or my Snapchat camera. And so now I can go ahead and join. I have a unique 10-digit code, and this is has 25 different iterations. And this keeps it from being force hacked, so people can't just guess my code. If you'll notice in WebEx, GoToWebinar, and even Zoom, you'll have what's called a personal room, and it's a static URL. And if that is ever compromised or breached, you can't reset it or create a new one. This one is always recreated every time you make a meeting, so no one can ever come back into this meeting later. You can turn on the captions, as I said. So I can caption my meeting, and hopefully everybody here is NDA, but in the future we'll have translations for this. So and we should see those by October. So there's lots of things that they're adding to the product at all times. You can present your other screen if you want. So you can see I can present my other screen. If I have other attendees, I have various ways of seeing those attendees. And I can even record. So if I record this meeting, as I said, it asks if everyone wants to give consent, and it records it right onto my Google Drive and then puts it into the calendar invite. Everyone gets a copy, but I have to then go and share it if I want them to have it. The other thing that I have is what's called live stream. So to set up your live stream, I have to do that in my calendar. And then I can set this up as live stream. What that means is that I can have people be in the meeting with me, like we're seeing in the Zoom, and then I can have people be attendees only so they can't interact. And then you can chat here also. And then again, the aspect of this being an international product is you can go to more phone numbers, and you can see every country that is represented with their own special PIN and phone numbers. So if you are an international company or do international business, this opens you up to those options. And then you can attach files if you would like. So that's just a little bit about Meet and some of the security aspects around it. Now, one of the big things that they're trying to do is integrate Meet into our other products. So as I said, it's integrated now into Gmail. And then we're doing this integrated workspace, which is what you're seeing here. So we have another product called Chat, and you may have been aware of what's called Classic Hangouts or Classic Chat. And some people even remember Gtalk back in the day, but now we have what's called Chat, and this is integrating rooms. So you now have rooms, and in those rooms you have the ability to access your files and your tasks. So they're integrating all the products into one integrated workspace so that you don't have to leave your email and go to these other applications all the time. You'll also see that you have your calendar integrated right here into your email. And we have a product called Keep, which you can access through your mobile device. And we have a product called Tasks. Now our tasks aren't as robust as what we had inside of our earlier version of Outlook. What these cannot be assigned to other people, but you can share your Google Keep with other people. So if I come in here and I open this up in Keep, you can see here I can share this with colleagues and others right through here. And then I can use this on my mobile app, and both of us can check off when we have our soda and our snacks and what we need. The other exciting thing here that they've been adding is ways to help you organize your email. Now we've always had what are called labels, which a lot of people in Outlook call folders. The difference between labels and folders is that I can have multiple labels on an email. The other big exciting thing about this, so you can see here, show you my labels, is I can add multiple labels here onto an email. And then here, if I go look at those labels, I'll see those emails. So you have the ability to label things multiple times, and it helps you find them. But the exciting thing is they've been adding more and more things to help find stuff. So if I type in Robert, for instance, you'll get these things called chips here. And I can then narrow this down to chat anytime has an attachment, it's written to me or is unread. And so they're helping you with your search to find things quicker and easier. Inside of Outlook, we use something called sort. So we just sort things and then scroll through till you found what you were looking for. Here, you can do what's called an advanced search, and it gives you a pre-filled thing so you can look for stuff exactly that you're looking for. So for instance, if I type in Robert Winters and then use this, I can say anything from Robert Winters and find exactly the email that I'm looking for. You can also schedule your sending of emails. So this is really helpful for small businesses, is I can go ahead and set up an email and schedule. And I have a tendency to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. Other people think this is a little crazy for some reason. So a good thing to do is I can come down here, I can schedule the sending of this email to go tomorrow morning. And now it's in my scheduled area, and it'll send it to Robert at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I can also choose to do a specific time and date if I wanted to. So I can pick the date and time and then put in here 10 a.m. and schedule it for a specific time and date. So for this meeting, I put in a little thing to pop the email back into my inbox so I remembered the Zoom information and everything else. For my clients that need more security, I can send a secured email. So here we have confidential mode, and I can even put a passcode on this. So we've seen this used a lot of times in telehealth and with patient information. So I can passcode this information. It will generate a passcode. they will get the passcode on in back to them that they can set up, and then they can open the email. And I can put in the person's phone number so that sends the code and through their phone. So great ways for you to secure your information a little more. The other thing that we're seeing is a priority inbox. So over here on the left-hand side, I can go ahead and set this up so that my unread emails are up at the top. So the way that I can do that is come over here to the settings gear, and I can customize how my email is displayed. So I can do my unread first. I can have a split in my email, just like we had in Outlook, where I can look at the emails. And then I can also see conversation view or not conversation view through my settings. So lots of ways to help you, and hopefully you like the new integrated workspace. I'm seeing this more and more of our ability to try to make work easier for you. And all of these things I just told you, and that was a lot, and I'll tell you again, SADA has a YouTube channel, and everything that I'm covering here, working from home with your calendar, with your email, is all covered in our YouTube videos at SADA. We also have the Google Drive. So if you go here to the right-hand side, this is called the Apps Launcher. And inside the Apps Launcher is all those applications I told you about. So here we have our email, you have calendar, and you have Google Drive. Google Drive is our version of Dropbox or Box or OneDrive if you're familiar with Office 365. It's cloud storage for you. And unlike our competitors, if you use G Suite and you get the enterprise level, you get what's called unlimited drive. And that means you have no shortage of space. And so here I am in my Google Drive. I can make folders and have individual files in here. I have two ways to view it. I have what's called the grid view, which shows a thumbnail of your files, and then I have what's called the list view. I can then sort this by name or by last modified. Now the exciting thing about our product, and we were just talking about the Apple suite of products, is that all of our products are interoperable with Microsoft Office. So crazy as it may seem, Microsoft Office has been around for 30 plus years, so a lot of companies are on it, but we're seeing all the top companies in the stock market and that are top in their business are using G Suite. And so we can't make everybody come over at once, but we are interoperable with them. So what does that mean? So if I open up a Word document like this, and I go up here to the top, I can open it up in Google Docs. And what it is actually opening in is what's called the Office Editor. So you can see here it still says DOCX up at the top. And then here, if I go back into my Google Drive, you can see it's still a DOCX, which means it's still a Word document. So if I come over here and type in my name, for instance, and if I make any comments on this file, like so, I'm going to comment this, needs to be read by Jim, and I comment on it. If I download this file, you can see it downloads to Microsoft Word, and I open it up in Word, that comment and any type of track changes that I create will also be viewable inside of Word. So you can see here, I'm in Word. There's that comment that I made. This is the interoperability with Microsoft Office. So it doesn't look any different than it did in Google Docs. You can also see that in our other products like Sheets, which we'll talk about next, but just to show you all the exciting things. Now, the other thing that we have is what's called shared drives. This is in our business and enterprise licenses, and this is our version of a on-premise server. So we're seeing a lot of clients move to the cloud, but they want their company to own the files. So with a shared drive, everything inside of here is owned by the company. If all 4 people were to leave the company, these files are still owned by the company or not lost. Inside of my drive, I am the owner of these files, and they cannot be shared with others unless I want them to be shared. The other big exciting part for Google is that we have what's called collaboration. So if I go back into my newsletter and I were to open this and I share it with someone else, I'll share this with my SADA account. In real time, you'll see me making changes and doing things with someone else inside the product in that real-time collaboration. And this is one of the big selling points for us, is that you're going to see that single source of truth. So here, you'll see me come into the file right there. There's my SADA account. And then you see me write, and you can see my little name right there. So this is that real-time collaboration and the single source of truth. So if I go to File and Version History and see my version history, you can see here, this purple is the change that I made with my SADA account. So you'll never lose any changes or wonder what people have done. They're always in the latest and greatest, and you don't have to do any of the concerns that you had before. And my favorite was, I would leave something on my desktop at work, and then I'm at home. I can't even VPN to it because it's on the desktop, and it's not in my drive or on the shared drives or anything else, or my on-premise drive, so I couldn't get to things. Now with the Google Drive, I can get to that same file on my phone, and I can work in that single source of truth. Now the other thing that I'm kind of famous for at SADA is that we have what's called Google Sheets. So this is our version of Excel. So you'll see that it looks very similar to Excel with columns and with rows. Again, I'll show you our SADA YouTube site. I did a whole class on how to do advanced Excel things inside of Sheets. But one of the biggest things that people say is that we don't have pivot tables, and we don't have X, we don't have Y. I've taken my career to prove that yes, we do have all of those things. Plus we have the added attraction of artificial intelligence. So if you come up here to data, and you'll see that pivot tables right here. It's a little bit like 2007 Excel. All of your file menus will have everything that you have in Excel. It's just inside the file menu instead of in ribbons. So if you come up here and go to data and go to pivot table, I can go ahead and make a pivot table. It's actually, I find, easier to use than Excel, because I come over here, I just say, what do I want? I want by department. I want to see what I sold, so items I sold, and then I want to see the cost. And I've actually got a little extra in here, so instead of 1,000, I'm going to just make this 100, and now I've cleaned it up. And this is a pivot table, very simple and easy to use. If I wanted to see what made up the cost for any of these numbers, I can double click on the number and it'll give me a details page with a breakdown of what made up that number. If I wanted to see this in a different format, I can come over here and just drag things up and down. And now I can collapse or expand the numbers. So very simple and easy to use. You can also do charts. So if you come over here and highlight the cost, hold down your control key, and hold down your control key. So, oh, I keep double clicking. My bad. Here we go. And press the chart button right here, insert chart. I can go ahead and create a chart right from here. Now, I have to geek out for a second because my favorite thing about the charts is that it's using artificial intelligence, so it gives you ideas of charts that you can do. But because of our integration with maps, this is the maps one, and I just think this is really super cool. So if I come over to compose and I change this from the world map to North America, it thinks that, oh, not North America, I went Europe. It thinks that IT is Italy. So I just think that's cool. But you can do this by states and all kinds of stuff for sales information and so on. And then the other really exciting thing about the idea of artificial intelligence is a lot of times people will ask me, okay, so how much did I spend in HR on, total? So I can come over here to explore, and a lot of times they don't know how to say it. So it actually gives you ideas here using artificial intelligence of what things you might want to use. So this explore button is the artificial intelligence. And you'll see it inside your email, you'll see it in calendar and other places. But because Google is a company of engineers, they're constantly thinking of innovations. So in this one, it shows you how to make a pivot table. They give you sample charts that you can do. But let's say I wanted to know, how much did I spend in HR? How much did I spend in HR? And it says, okay, well, maybe you didn't write it right. Here's the formula if you knew what you want. So let's say what my highest cost in HR. Okay, so let's try in HR. There we go. So I want to know what was my highest cost in HR. It goes ahead and looks at the two rows. So if you look here, it's looking at E and K. And then the biggest thing is it shows me the function for this. And this is the hardest part for me is data analysis, is how do I write this to find what you're looking for? And so I can use it again. All I have to do is drag it right onto my spreadsheet, and that gives me the number. So this is 194,000, but if I change that number here to 200,000, it updates it up here to the correct number. So this was amazing when I first saw it. That explore button is in all the products, and it's constantly trying to help and innovate and help you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in there. I'm happy to demo any information for you that I've showed you. And then again, all of our products will download into the Microsoft Office products. So in this case, Microsoft Excel. And then if I want to email this as an attachment, it will do it by default as a PDF, but I can make it into Excel. And everything that I showed you is absolutely free for you right now. You can go into your Gmail account and use everything that I just showed you absolutely for free. So hopefully you'll try these things out and you'll be interested in trying out the products. So I'm going to hand the mic back to Michael. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to demo anything.
Thank you, Heather. So yeah, I mean, that was just a couple pieces, a few pieces of the stack. And, like we said, we can go down a lot of different rabbit holes to get into some of the nuances of the services. But hopefully you found that valuable. That explore button definitely is powerful as it kind of integrate things together. You can see how it's trying to learn how to turn functions into natural language. It's something that we're working real hard on. If you were to take Google and, put a gun against their head and say, hey, what do you do well? It's solve complicated problems with lots of data. So in this case, we've taken that expertise and knowledge and kind of put it into our services to try and make it a little bit easier to do your work, give you a little bit of a boost. So, we covered what? Meet, Excel, Gmail. There's obviously more that we can talk about. If there's, we have some time. Either if there's additional questions about the ones that we covered or others, we can certainly talk about them.
Yeah, so the question here was, is there a way if you pull data from the web to know if it's stale? I don't really know of a way for that, but we do have data connectors. And one of the big products that is pretty exciting is called BitQuery. And this can analyze big stacks of data using ODBC and other connectors. So you can always go ahead and check it out. And you can type in BigQuery. I'm going to find it here. So if you just type in BigQuery, you can type it out, try it out for free. And it is a data analytics platform. So you can try it out for free, do all kinds of great cloud analysis and see it with using Google Sheets. You can analyze that data. So you can see all the different connectors here. And it does BI also. So I'll put this into the chat for you. You can try that out. It really would depend on the staleness of your data. Kind of depends on where you're pulling your data from. So a little too vague for me to answer in this state. But feel free to follow up with Michael Lands and he can help you out. Maybe. Any other questions I'm happy to answer. Sheets is always my favorite topic. So. And I will go ahead and pull up that YouTube channel for you while we're waiting for any questions. It used to be called SATA Systems, so we're rebranding, but I can always find it when I look up SATA Systems. And here it's the topics that are called Ask the Expert, and everything that I showed you is in those Ask the Expert ones. So in those playlists for Ask the Experts. We were calling it Sweet Bits, so so you can see all the different topics here.
Hi everyone, my name's Alyssa.
So I have Google Docs, Google Slides, there's Sheets, all kinds of different topics inside of here that you can check out. And I'll put that into the chat.
Hey, this is Dion Gordon popping back in. Thank you, Heather. Two things. I am glad to know I'm not alone in having alarms go off when I am.
I try to time myself to make sure so I don't go over time.
That's great. And from here on, all meetings should definitely be titled Boo-hoo. Most meetings. We do have some good meetings, this being one. I was curious, do you have any just best practices for people, especially that are moving over from regular drive over to shared drive? I know that there are some differences between the two that might not be readily apparent. Are there any recommendations that you have for making that transition, and anything that people might want to consider that will inform their decision as to how to move over to 10 drives and how best to implement it?
Oh, that's a great question. So shared drive, again, is owned by your company. So, and the way this I compare them is Drive is kind of like my backyard. So I can decorate it and do what I want in my backyard. The shared drives is kind of reminds me, there's a country club not too far from my house, and you have to be a member of that country club in order to swim in their pool, right? And so if you're not a member, then how do you swim in the pool? So you can share individual files in shared drive with people outside of the membership of that shared drive, so your company or project or whatever. But you can't share an entire folder. There's some new exciting things that will be coming out in the future with Google Drive and Shared Drive, where you can share things even if the person isn't on Google or on Drive, and you can then expire that sharing. So we'll see that in the future, but right now, if you're going to use a shared drive, my best practices would be to make sure who you're going to share it with. It's a little bit of a paradigm shift. With file management in general, we thought of the information, right? I'm in benefits, you're in benefits, you need to be part of this shared drive for benefits. That's not how you have to think about Drive. You have to think about who needs to see the information. So if everyone needs to see what the benefits are, for instance, in your company, that shared drive would be shared with the company. But if this is a HR, situation, that needs to be private between me and the person who the HR representative. So that might be in my drive because that's a private item. But things that need to be shared with groups would be in shared drive. So you have to think more about who needs to see the material and less about the nature of the material. And that was a huge paradigm shift for me personally, because I was like, oh, it's HR, it needs to be in the HR drive, right? But HR has a lot of nuances in it. Not everything gets to be seen by everyone in HR, which I learned very quickly by working with HR. So
Absolutely. No, thank you for that. Last thing, I want to make sure I don't forget this, the best way for people to contact you all.
I'll defer to Michael on that one.
Yeah. So, and there's actually another question in Q&A that I'll touch here in a second. But the best way to contact us is probably via email. I'll pull up that slide again that has that contact information on it. Go. So hopefully y'all can see it. There's both of our emails. Like I said, I'm local here in Birmingham, so feel free to reach out to me. I can help find the right folk internally here, as well as partner with SADA to find the right folk on their side as well. But you can kind of use me as the main point of contact for what you need. So
awesome. Thank you, sir. And you did mention that question, so I'll defer that over to you.
Yep. So Heather, so the last question that was in the Q&A was, what's the best way to email Google Slides that I don't want recipients to edit? So is that a PDF, or also what about compressing the file size?
Oh, that's a great, those are both great questions. So number one with slides is if I have a slides presentation, you don't need to compress. So that's number one. But here, let me open up a PowerPoint presentation, and that way it's a little easier to see. So here I have a PowerPoint presentation. It's in Google Slides. I can always make it into slides if I wanted to, so I can make a copy or save it as Google Slides. Using that Drive editor, it's still considered PowerPoint. When I make it into Google Slides, it loses that PowerPoint extension. But I can email this by going to File, and I can email it as an attachment. If it's really large, which is what I'm assuming with your compression question, is I would go ahead and just send it to the person as PowerPoint using my Office editor here in Drive, and I just share it. So now I can share it with someone, go ahead and send it. They'll get a link to the file, and then the size doesn't matter. So in Microsoft Office, you had a 25 megabyte limit on your sharing. There is no limit. So I can share CAD files, which are huge, with people and all kinds of things because they're just a link. And that size, actually, if there is any size, would hit me and not the recipient. So because I have unlimited drive, I can send as big a file as I want to the person, and it will not hit their storage capacity. It comes over as a link. And just like Home Depot's lamp section, they go to this URL and they'll get to my file within the Google Drive. Now, you said you want to share it with them so that they can't make any changes. So by default, it shares with someone as an editor, but I can make them only a viewer. And then my favorite is I can make them a commenter if I want to, or a viewer. And if I come up here, I can keep them from downloading, printing, or copying this file. So up in the upper right-hand corner where you see the settings gear, I can do another level of security to keep them from downloading, printing, and copying. So those of us who send people RFPs and we're sending proposals to people, no one can share it with your competition because you can check this little checkbox here. So a great way to keep your information private to you. Anything else, Michael, or is that it?
That was the only question we hadn't addressed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to say, Michael, again, do not let me steal your thunder or anything that you're going to be offering, but I did want to express my appreciation to you all. Courtney has her screen off. I think I scared her away, but Courtney, thank you. Heather, really appreciated you taking time to go through the demo. And Michael, again, for everything. Really grateful for you guys' friendship and partnership. So is there anything that you wanted to wrap up or leave us with before we kind of send everybody on their merry, wonderful, rainy in Birmingham day?
Rainy in Birmingham day, yeah. My goodness.
I saw the church finger from Heather go up.
I just wanted to say, we showed you Meet, but there's a great promo going on right now that's absolutely free for everyone called G Suite Essentials, and it's Meet and Google Drive. So if you're interested and you want to try it in your business, I would definitely reach out to Michael. And it's a great promotion going on until September 30th. And just to try it out. And then again, everything that I showed you, you can try in your free Gmail account. So you don't have to even talk to us if you don't want to, but wanted to put that out there that there's some great things going on in the Google ecosystem.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so, and thank you. And so, from our standpoint, again, we appreciate the time. We hope it's valuable. I know there's every single time I go through one of these reviews, and I use it every day, obviously, because if I didn't, that'd be a little weird. I always learn something new. So keep an eye out for additional stuff coming from us, enhancements. We kind of move pretty quick, but we're always here to answer questions, like we said, whether they are technical or business related, doesn't really much matter. We're here to tackle both. Like I said, I'm here locally. I'm ready to help whoever needs to be helped. We can get you aligned to people to help with that, or like Heather said, they're gracious enough to record a lot of trainings and things. And of course, if there's interest, we're happy to do additional ones, with Tech Birmingham too. So just know we're here. We're excited to be here, working with all kinds of organizations, commercial and public sector. So hopefully our paths will cross in person as opposed to only virtual, but really look forward to that time. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. This was super informative. I live in the G Suite environment, and I still learned a lot. I am going to have a lot of fun using that Explore feature. So thank you for that. Rebecca, just a heads up in case you wanted to jump in and say anything, but feel free to do so. Otherwise, there's Rebecca.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming today, and thank y'all for doing such a great presentation. We really, really appreciate it, because there's nothing more than something I like is to learn something new, and we find that a lot of our members do too. So we really appreciate y'all being here today. And if you're from Hoover, go vote. Today's election day.
Yes, exercise that right. Thank you, everybody. We will let you all go now. Do not forget, we have our cybersecurity conference coming up where we do in partnership with Birmingham InfraGard and Central Alabama ISSA Cyber Now Summit. Go to cybernowsummit.com/2020. We have really appreciated the feedback and the signups that we've already seen. Of course, it's virtual, so we are not going to run out of seats. Make sure you go. There is a discount for Tech Birmingham members as well. Would love to see you all there. And again, be on the lookout for this recording when we upload it to our YouTube channel. So that said, thanks again, everybody. Have fun. Be safe.
And John reminded everybody elections are in Homewood today as well.
Yes. Homewood, Hoover, do your duty. See you guys.